Good morning and welcome to our first breakfast event for 2021. My name's Karen Williams and I'm thrilled that you're here. These events are designed for you to take a moment to pause, to reflect, refresh and reset. A mini retreat for you to take your attention off all the things that you think you need to do and that you need to do and focus just for a little while on creating who you really want to be. Because when we move our attention from the things that we can't control to the things that we can, we elevate ourselves out of our drama and into our power. And that's a place where you can create whatever you want in your relationships, in your leadership, and in your life. For those who are here for the first time, I want to welcome you. My name's Karen Williams. I'm an executive and leadership coach, organisational trainer, and facilitator of Brave Conversations. My team and I work with organisations helping leaders and teams work better together. We also work one-on-one and in groups with women in leadership and business, specifically in the areas where women want to elevate their authentic confidence, lead with presence and greater self-awareness so that they can have the impact and influence that they really want to have. And so today's conversation is about ditching our drama. Drama is a term I use affectionately for the things that we do that sabotage our success or sabotage our fulfillment. So when I talk about drama, as we talk through this conversation today, I want you to start to look and see where might you be tolerating your drama or your small conversation, something that's keeping you stuck or stopped, not allowing you to break through into what you want to create as a new result. So there's three things that we'll focus on today. Well, you'll think about where are your areas of drama, maybe the sneaky drama that you haven't seen before. You'll reflect and do some activity or some reflection in your notebook about what you might do to let go of that drama, and I'll help you through that today. And then I want you to leave with really powerful and valuable insights, new tools and practical awareness to help you make a shift immediately if you want to. For those of you who've been here before and maybe even have been to every breakfast webinar since April last year, I want to welcome you as well. Thank you for investing your time and for continuing to do this work. I love being with you and I love sharing these events with you. So I'm really excited about what I might hear from you today. So a little bit about me. I live down on the bay. I love swimming in cold water. I enjoy, obviously I'm passionate about my work and I really enjoy learning. I'm a continuous improvement junkie. So I love to always be learning on something new. I'd love to know where you're from. So wherever you're coming from today, I'd love you to type in the chat box whereabouts that is. Is that within Melbourne? Is that around Australia? I know we've got some international guests as well. So I'd love to hear from you where you're at. So I'm checking out the chat box as we speak. So we've got some people from, hello Sandra from Adelaide, lovely to see you. Hi Vicky from Christchurch, love that you're here. Thank you for being here. Elwood, wonderful. Elwood's a lovely place on the bay. So thank you for sharing where you're at. Where else have we got today? From Brunswick, Ashburton, Frankston. Fabulous. Raining out there in Melbourne today, so I hope you're all, well actually it's quite warm too I believe, but I hope you're all keeping dry. So keep sharing with me where you're at. Jazz, hi Jazz from Wanturna, the foothills of the Dandenongs. Maybe you're going for a walk this weekend. So as I said to you, the three things for today, if you haven't been here before, grab your notebook, grab your pen and get ready to have some new light bulb moments about where your drama is hiding. Someone said to me earlier this morning, but what if I love my drama, Karen? That's something that we'll talk about because we all love a bit of drama, don't we? So I'm not saying completely remove it from your life because then who would we be without that? But it's about understanding when we're playing a bit of drama and it's holding us back and when we actually can get a healthy dose of drama and why that's important. So today we'll think about where your sneaky drama is that's holding you back. And as I said, the affectionate term for self-sabotage. Yep. I want you to reflect. I want you to really take yourself on today and think about when I'm having and tolerating that small conversation in my mind, maybe that's drama and maybe that's not the truth. Maybe I need to challenge myself. Yep, so I want you to challenge yourself through the tools and the insights that I share with you today. And then I want you to leave with your own personal insights and practical awareness so that you can go and make a difference in your life and the life of your people if you choose. Because as women in leadership, we can only lead and elevate the performance of others if we're able to create a space where they can uplift themselves and step into their own power. And the only way that we can do that is if we're self-leading. Because if we're trying to lead or coach others just by telling them or giving them good advice, but not doing the work on ourselves, then it won't resonate for them. They won't trust it, and they'll think it's great information, but they won't do anything with it for themselves. So leading self always first, yeah? About 5 years ago, I was conducting or facilitating women's circles, and they were beautiful programs, 5 and 7 week programs. So really short but intense programs. And we would come together, do meditations, group meditations, activities, reflections, deep sharing. And there was a lot of powerful transformation through those programs. One woman, let's call her Rose, who went through this program, was doing a lot of great work on herself and busting through lots of her limits and dealing with a lot of her drama. Well, one of the things that kept coming up for her was her relationship with her ex-husband. Obviously, they wanted to parent as well as they could for their son, but they didn't really get along or see eye to eye with each other. And so for her, the truth was that the ex-husband was always the one in the wrong. And she just couldn't get past that. And there was a quality of her tone of voice, and we'll talk about that, and her language that happened when she was talking about him that was different to when she was talking about anything else. But she couldn't see it for herself. One night, as we were chatting in the WhatsApp group, she was starting to then repeat this same complaint about her ex-husband, this complaint that she'd told over and over again. And by that time, I knew that it was time for her to bust through that. So as a coach, we're often taking risks, challenging people in new ways, helping them try and break through. And that takes courage on both parts, doesn't it? So I offered her a challenge, and it was something quite strong. And for her, it was very confronting. And she didn't talk to me for a couple of weeks. It's not unusual. Some of the people that I work with might have that same experience of me sometimes. But obviously, it's from a place of serving you and helping you be your best. And so as she moved through this work that I asked her to do, a few months later, she came back and let me know. She shared through a video and also a phone call. She shared a video with me that she was stepping into developing herself as a coach as well, because she completely transformed her relationship with her ex-husband by dealing with the drama that she'd had going on in her head. And then about 3 or 4 years later, we lost touch, or we didn't stay in touch. 3 or 4 years later, we bumped into each other at a retreat, and she came up to me and gave me the biggest hug and told me how the work that she'd done had completely transformed her life, and now how she was helping others transform theirs, all because she was willing to deal with her drama. So we know that drama's, something that can hide deep inside of our psyche, and we need to be aware of it because we really need to catch it in times where it might be taking control of us. So we've got people from Maribyrnong, Rockhampton. Can't see the writing on the board. That's interesting. Thank you so much, Tracy. Is that right, my writing, or is that the focus of the camera? Let me know. From Essendon, from Kiama, I think, and from Oakley. Oh, it's the reflection of the light. Okay, so James, the reflection of the light is not letting people see the board. Thank you for the feedback. James will sort that out because, as you know, I love to use the board. All right, so thanks for letting me know that early as well. So what we're going to do is have a first look at what is drama and what's the impact of drama. Okay, so grab your notebook and draw, and then I'll draw this, James, and let's see if that's going to work. Let me know if you can see this now on the board. So what is drama and what does drama sound like? Have a think about for you what drama is. So I would say, because drama is really what's on the surface, yeah? Drama can sound like what's wrong with something or someone. Yeah. So we might feel very justified or have lots of evidence, what I would call evidence, to prove our opinion about someone or something. But if we're continuing to complain or even state what's wrong with this situation, what's wrong with how this person behaves, then that is a sense of drama. Yep. Drama is actually making a complaint versus having a committed conversation. And this is a really important point. Let me know if you can see this writing in the board now. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Alison. You can see now. Amazing. Thanks, James. So complaint versus committed conversation is really important distinction when we're talking about where your drama might be holding you back. Because while you might feel, as I said, justified in your complaint, if you're not taking it to the source or to someone who can do something about it, then you're stuck in a complaint versus a committed conversation. Even if I'm a leader and I'm complaining incessantly about one of my team to maybe my leader or to a peer, yep, if I'm continually repeating that same problem, then I'm in complaint versus having a committed conversation with maybe that team member or committed conversation with someone who might be able to coach me to see it in a different way and try something new. So I'm stuck in a downward spiral conversation rather than elevating myself back into a state of power. You guys with me? So that's a really important distinction around drama. Another way that we know what drama is, it's about repetitive story. So about 18 years ago or 19 years ago, I was in a transformational program, the Landmark Forum Advanced course it was called. I did quite a bit of work with Landmark Education, really powerful transformational programs. And this advanced course, one of the exercises, I think it's a really powerful exercise if you'd like to do it for yourself, is we write down our story. So you know that story that you just repeat over and over about yourself, why you are the way you are, why life is the way that it is. It might be a physical ailment or problem that you have, or it might be a relational issue that just keeps manifesting itself or showing up in your life. That story that we have, we write it down and then we get someone to listen to it. And in this course, what we did is we sat opposite each other and just told our story over and over and over again for it could be a half an hour, until the other person wasn't allowed to say anything. They just listened until I got so bored of telling my story, until I got bored of it. And so if you've worked with me before, you'll hear me say, that story is really boring now. So we need to start to listen for what's repetitive in our language and in our habits and what's becoming boring. Yeah. So have a think about where your drama might be getting boring. Why something or something needs to change is also what drama can sound like. So I'm wanting you to start to dig and see, oh yeah, that thing that I thought I was right about, maybe it's just my drama. Reasonable justifications. Okay, so they can sound like, I started working with someone last year, a woman in leadership, amazing woman, and this may resonate for many of you, is that for a long time she'd been putting other people first with great reason and justification, all valid, making sure her children were taken care of, making sure her family had what they needed. And she'd gotten to a point where that was not okay anymore. She needed to take some time back for herself. And now, after reflection, she could see that maybe she could have done that sooner. But for herself, it was a repetitive story and reasonable justifications about why that wasn't possible for her to take some time. So I'm not saying that's not true and that we need to make choices around what we're responsible for, but be on the watch out for where it's turning into drama and it's kind of like your back door for not taking a risk or not stepping forward and backing yourself. And let me see. Okay, so the last piece I want to give you here about what could drama sound like is anger. And I don't mean a feeling of anger, I mean projected anger or frustration. Because you know how much I love to feel feelings. It's an important part of our transformation. And anger is an important emotion and feeling, really valuable. But if we're projecting our anger, it's likely that we're in drama. So if you can feel yourself in a meeting, for example, getting triggered, and you can't hold yourself back anymore, and so you react, consider that that's come from a story in your mind that we call drama. Yeah? So I want you to take a moment to think about some of these examples I've shared with you. Maybe you've got your own example of what drama sounds like. So take a moment to make some notes for you in your life about what drama could sound like. All right, now I'd love to hear from you. Do you connect with one of these, or is your drama, does that have a different flavour, or is there a different version for you? So in the chat box, as you did with sharing where you're coming from today, I'd love to hear from you. What does your drama sound like? So take a moment to pop that in the chat box, because I know that other people would love to hear from you as well. Feeling sorry, that's a great one, Alison. Feeling sorry for myself. Yes. You know, there's times I've caught myself thinking that I'm not being a victim, and I am. And it's like, oh, because, you know, we work so hard to not be that and think more of ourselves, don't we? But there are times where we are being a victim, and we'll notice that if we can really listen for the language in our mind. Being right, thank you. Who was that? That was Vicky. So when we're being right about others, about how others should be, even about how we should be, that's drama. What else you got? Yes, the victim mentality. And that can often go back to, the victim mentality can go back to the patterns that we develop even in our childhood and, you know, in our relationships with our siblings. So what that looks like if we're the oldest child or the youngest or somewhere in the middle. We can have a flavour around victimhood in relationship to our siblings and how we grew up. So have a think about maybe that might be something for you as well. All right, so love to hear what else is drama for you as we move on to what's the impact on you of this drama. So I know when I'm in drama, as in self-sabotaging drama as opposed to healthy drama, and I'll talk about healthy drama. So there's a lot of limit here, isn't there? So if you imagine you're in this story in your head, there's a limit to our creativity, to our clarity. We're actually not listening to others because we're so entertained by the story in our head. So we actually think we're listening, but we're not. So we're not present, obviously, either. It's exhausting. We are often in confusion and we can't find a way forward. And so then often what I hear from women is, I don't know what I want. That's drama. Because if we sit with ourselves long enough, and while it feels true, if we sit with ourselves long enough, we can break through the confusion, and what comes is the clarity about what we really want, because we know what we really want. It's just all the noise on top, all this stuff that keeps us from doing that. And it's our safe and comfortable place, isn't it? Because it gives us a foot out the back door that we don't necessarily have to take that risk. What else? What are the other impacts of drama? Low energy, which I guess goes with exhaustion. There's no vitality. There's no, one of my passions is helping women really light that fire back within themselves rather than seek it outside themselves. So what does it feel like to be vital from the inside out? Our drama zaps that very quickly. And we're not obviously stressed. And you think about your potential. You are so far from your potential as a leader, as in relationship, in what you want to create and contribute to the world. What else? What are your impacts when you're in your drama? Another one is being disconnected or disconnection. So imagine when you're with your partner or someone in your family and you're going around and around in your mind, there's no connection in that moment. Helplessness, yes. So feeling helpless. Feeling that you cannot change anything. So it's like stuck and everything's outside my control, that's a great one. And so Sandra, remember when I said, it's for everybody, when I said at the start of today, when we elevate ourselves out of drama, we're actually taking our focus off what we can't control and then projecting it or investing it in what we can control. And sometimes that's why we stay stuck in drama, isn't it? Because if we let go of that, we actually have to face the vulnerability of making choices, the fear of taking responsibility, of choosing something over something else, the opportunity cost that might come with making a choice. So there's lots of reasons we don't do that, and we then create this story as if it's the truth and use it as the reason why we don't go in that direction. So as I said to you today, start to reflect here really where it is that you're holding yourself back, pretending that it's true. Yeah. I feel a sense of neutrality when I'm in drama, like the brakes are on and I'm in neutral. Really powerful, Laura. That's a really powerful word, isn't it? Because we can think neutral, and that's what I would call maybe flatlining, when our life starts to flatline and we're just doing Groundhog Day. And that's where we start to get exhausted and work harder and achieve less. And that's what most of us are actually used to doing. So rather than, so that just becomes like a slow progress over time, rather than these light bulb moments we could have and actually elevate our success and our growth. So this sense of neutrality is something that we think is kind of normal, isn't it? What we know though, through the work that we do together, is that it's not. All right, very helpful. Any other shares that you'd like to pop in the chat box would be great before I move on, because now I want to move on to, well, how do now we catch it? So now I know I've got drama. How do I catch it in the moment is really important. So make sure you've got this, because I'm going to rub this off in a moment. So I'll give you a moment to just finish that off. Okay, some really powerful sharing there, stuck in a holding pattern as well, Tracy shares. Yep, so that just doing the same thing over and over. And then we become at the effect of life, don't we? So then we become the victim, because then the outside world is running our day and we're actually not the one navigating through all the challenges and everything that's being thrown at us. So identifying for yourself where you're letting something or someone else or just the world control your day. All right, very good, well done. So make sure you've got all that, and then we're going to go and, well, how do I catch it now? We might grab a snap off that, off the recording, James, of that slide, of that piece there, and we can send it out. Oh, crap. So, how do we catch it? So there's three things. So the first thing I want to give you is your language. Okay, so one of the key things that gives us a way to know if we're in an empowered state or a disempowered state is our language. And this is the bit that lives under here. So I want you to start to really listen for what are the words and the phrases that I hear myself repeat. And this is about tuning in. If we can tune in on a more regular basis to what we're actually saying, almost like an observer sometimes of ourselves, we're going to become very good at catching ourselves in our drama. So remember I shared with you a moment ago about the story that in that course, that we would write our story and then we would just repeat it over and over. So we had 2 or 3 pages of our story. Well, this is the story that I have about my life and why things are the way that they are. And this is what happened for me as I grew up. So whatever your story is, and then repeating it over and over, we start to get good at hearing ourselves. We go, oh my God, we can actually bore ourselves with our drama. Yes? So your language, words and phrases, and I'll often say there's no accident about what comes out of our mouth. And so as a leader, as well as, when you're leading and managing, and as a leader as coach, The way that you can help your people break through their drama is by you getting very good at listening to their language and challenging them on some of the things that you might hear them say. That's interesting. Why did you say that? Or that thing that you just said then, what do you mean by that? Those are clues for us to hunt down the source of our disempowerment, which is our drama, yeah? So I want you to, so an activity that you could do, and we won't do it now, but I want you to think about what's the story that you live by of your life? The valid, justified story that you repeat over and over in your head that you may not even know that you're repeating about why you are the way that you are, how you turned out this way. That's your story. And then what I want you to do is find someone to share it with, right? Now you need to coach this person on how to listen to you. So it might be with a friend, you have a cuppa over the weekend and just say, hey, I want you to listen to this story. And you've got to coach them and say, you're not allowed to say anything. You've just got to be present and listen. And then you start. And then you tell your story. And tell it 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times, however long they're willing to sit there, until you get really bored of yourself. And then start to realise, oh yeah, I'm limiting myself here by telling this story. Because you may never speak your story out loud, but I promise you that it goes on in here, yeah? And so share it until you get bored. That's one way that you can get very good at understanding what's going on in your mind. Thank you, Georgie. Another one is voice tone. Now, when I work with women, whether that's individually or in groups, I talk to them about our emotional evolution. So as men and women, often we're walking around in adult bodies with the belief system or the reactions or the fears of a child, because we haven't fully grown up emotionally yet. And we all have some of that going on. And so if we can start to catch where we might be in child, which is not bad or wrong, or mature adult, we can start to understand where we might be in drama. Now, inner child meditations and all of that's really important to integrate our child, right? And we can even reparent our inner child ourselves. But for the point of this conversation, what happens is when we go into our disempowered child state, our voice tone changes. So rather than being a resonant, deep tone, we go into really higher pitch, and it comes from our head. And we can catch that in ourselves. We can hear in ourselves where we might be in one or the other. So start to notice for yourself where you might be in drama, throwing a tantrum maybe, because you're wanting to get attention or you need someone to hear you and you haven't been able to do that from this place. Through voice tone, catch that and then go, okay, what's the drama I'm telling myself, or the drama that's having me stay in this place? Because there's no power in your tone. People won't resonate and feel the power of it if you're in that drama, yeah? There's a definite shift in the quality of our voice. So that's the second thing. And the third thing is, I want to, how you can catch your drama is, are you seeking agreement? Kind of like a heat seeker, yep. Are you telling the story and looking for where you might get that, oh yeah, that's like, that happens to me too. Or yeah, that person's like that with me as well. So you're like looking for the nod or the look of compassion from someone else, or the agreement, so that you feel more justified staying in your story. We all do this, yes? And so consider where you might be seeking agreement. So this is about attention. We might be seeking attention. We might even be seeking nurturing. Yeah. We might even be seeking connection. And so, as I said to you before, the unhealthy drama is this sort of stuff. And when we're not allowing ourselves to get a healthy dose of drama, what is that healthy dose of drama, Karen? When we're not doing that, we're seeking agreement. That's an unhealthy need for drama. And can you imagine then that if you imagine yourself or people around you or your team, they're in this drama, seeking agreement about maybe the other business function that aren't doing what they need to do to help you guys complete what you need to do. You're in a downward spiral conversation and they're in drama. Yep. So you need to elevate them out of drama by challenging them on what they're seeking, by tolerating that story. All right, let me check in with you. I'd like to hear from you if this is connecting. What's something that you think that you can catch in yourself that's going to help you know if you're in drama? So take a moment to choose one of those. Maria says, it's like you're reading my mind, seeking agreement about difficult people at work. Yes, very good, Maria. You wouldn't be the only one. Tone, I really get a shaky voice in front of my colleagues, like I give away my power when I have to speak up. Yes, so good, Laura. And so next time you're doing that, when you feel that your voice is starting to shake, or you haven't spoken yet and you fear that it will, take a moment to consider, what's the story that you're telling in your mind about yourself or about what they'll think? Maybe you're seeking agreement. Maybe there's deep empathy in you that really cares too much about what others think about what you're about to say. So see if you can catch what it is that's behind that shakiness. And even prepare before you go into the meeting. Yep. So it takes a little bit of reflection. What else? My brother told me I was whining and I got upset. Yep. Okay. And so he's listening to maybe your tone, Alison, and he's giving you feedback, potentially, or he might be completely off track. Something for you to decide for yourself. Yeah, so Tracy says, I'm with Maria, seeking agreement for connection and validation. Why do we do that, guys? Why do we seek that agreement? Because when we're doing that, our power is out the door. Can we come back to alignment and go, okay, who do I need to be here? Who do I want to be? What's the conversation I need to have? Remember I put up here on the board before, committed conversation versus complaint. Stop yourself. Even though we justify it and go, I just need a debrief or I just need some help. We know for ourselves if we're aligned and really seeking coaching or if we're actually just in our drama. And then understand the impact and go, okay, what do I really need here to be the leader I want to be to make a difference? Yeah, very good, Tracy. All right, excellent work, team. So any other reflections you'd like to put on the chat box, let me know. I'm going to move into the 3 secrets I thought I'd share with you, or I promised I'd share with you about how to own your power. So let's talk, before we do that, let's talk about drama and what is healthy drama. So one of my mentors a long time ago talked about the difference between drama and getting that dose of drama in a healthy way as opposed to the things that we've been talking about. One of the ways I get my healthy dose of drama is I watch The Bachelor. Because I know when I watch The Bachelor, I'm like deep in drama and I'm analysing and I'm assessing and I'm like, oh my God, and I'm tolerating that in myself because that helps me have that sense of just being blah, because then I know as a human I need a little bit of drama in my life because that helps me then with integrity manage my relationships without drama. Doesn't mean that I don't have drama in relationships sometimes, but it means that I'm really aware of it and I can catch it sooner and I can course correct. Yeah. So give yourself permission to have a bit of drama, healthy drama that's not hurting anyone, that's not limiting your future or your leadership ability, that it's a conscious choice to go, where am I going to get my drama today? Yeah. Where do you want to get your drama? Okay. Yes, ask for help rather than seeking agreement. Voice tone, yes. When I feel empowered, my voice is clear and confident. When I don't, I'm aware of self-doubt. It doesn't feel carried by as much support in my body. Beautiful share. I don't know who shared that. I can't see the name. But yes, when we're connected and in an empowered state, it comes from in here, doesn't it? In our gut and in our heart. And when we're in our it's coming up from our head. and our throat, maybe even our chest. Sarah, thank you, Sarah. Excellent sharing. All right. So let me know where your healthy drama is. I've shared with you, mine's The Bachelor. Where's yours? I want to know, because I might pinch your idea. So would you be willing to share where you get your healthy drama from, so that you don't take your drama out on your children or your partner or your team or your clients even? Where do you get your drama? Married at First Sight? Korean drama series? Thanks, Mano. What else? I know you get your drama from somewhere. Are you going to share? From your neighbour? Yeah, so whoever's got the goss on someone else, okay, or the neighbourhood. Sport? Yes, watching and playing. I get my drama at the moment from my new sport of boxing. A lot of drama in that. Excellent. Very good. All right, so let's keep going. I want to give you the 3 secrets to owning your power from my daughter and her friend, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Very good. I love the honesty. Thank you. All right. So these are the 3 things to own your power easily and quickly. So this one's really key, and I love this word, and I'd like you to start using this word with your team or the people around you if you're in a leading, managing, coaching situation. So the don't is don't, let me just check that how I've worded it. Don't change to please others, right? So that's the don't. The do is calibrate to yourself, and that's the word. Calibrate to your inner guidance, to your truth. And meditation helps us do that, because we get to know ourselves. If we don't meditate, we just stay in our mind thinking that's who we are. But we're so much more than our mind. And so if we can do the practices of meditation or journaling or spending time in nature, we start to understand what it feels like to be aligned. And calibrating to ourselves means when we're in a meeting, and like Laura was sharing before, and we're about to speak or we're speaking, and we start to notice our voice shake, it's likely that we're calibrating to others' feedback, whether that's their facial expression, or they're rolling their eyes, or they're crossing their arms, or because we're energetic beings, and often with deep empathy, we're calibrating to what's around us and making it mean something negative about ourselves, right? Which then sends us into drama. So we want to develop the muscle and the practice of calibrating to ourselves. This is a tough one, isn't it? Because as human beings, we're just seeing everything around us. And we practice from a young age caring what others think. And we're trained to do that. So coming back to calibrate to yourself, that's a very important one. I want to hear from you if that makes sense to you. So that when we're doing this and practice this, we become less dependent on what other people think of us, and less dependent on that need to seek agreement that I wrote on the board earlier. So it's this relationship with self that we're cultivating, yeah? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Okay, so the next one, so that's number 1. So the next one is this is about how to connect with our power quickly and easily. Don't do all the talking. Okay, don't do all the talking. Often when we're trying to connect with our power, we start to push our ideas, or we keep talking because we're nervous, yes? So stop doing that and ask more questions. So if we're in drama, it's likely we're going to be doing this, at least even if we're doing it verbally or out loud or even in here. It's likely we're going to be doing a lot of this. Stop doing that and come back to, what's a question I could ask here, even of myself? How could I do this better? what's happening that I'm getting stuck here? Or if it's with our team, what's going on for you that you missed that piece? Talk to me about what distracted you. And so the quality of our questions are really important. And, you know, as you might have heard me say before, the what and how questions are the most powerful questions. They're the presuppositions that help our brain think in new ways, because we're presupposing that there's something else going on. So rather than is something else going on here, that's a really ineffective question. What else is going on here that we're stuck helps our brain start to kick into a new gear and get some answers, yeah? So don't do all the talking, ask more questions. Helpful? Let me see if I want to add anything to that. Okay, yes, I want to add one thing here. Oh, this is a really important piece. I was working with someone this week, amazing woman, she may even be on the call today, and who shared this beautiful moment of shifting from, she was asked into a meeting to give her expertise. And, you know, immediately it's like, well, what have I got to add here? And so potentially in the past, her default might have been to just start talking, thinking that she needed to fill some gaps or to prove that she was worthy of being there, or that, you know, she could give the value that people expected. But she caught herself in that moment and went, hang on, I want to ask a question. And it shifted everything for her, which meant it gave her some time to breathe. And people felt really listened to and like they were contributing as well. So consider that your key contribution doesn't have to come from speaking. It actually can come from beautiful quality of listening and asking great questions. Yep. And that includes with your clients as well. And then the last piece here. Yes, hard to practice, makes sense, but hard to practice. I understand, Sarah. But practice is key in anything. So the last one is, don't expect others to know what you want. What did I say, want or need? Yeah, to know what you want. Yeah, don't expect others to know what you want. Communicate, so this one is know your boundaries. And communicate your needs. Now, I know this can be challenging for some of us and for many of us, but when we're expecting others to know what we want, that's a drama conversation in our head, isn't it? If only they knew, well, he should know, or she should know, or this, I've said this 10,000 times, why don't they know? And so if we keep expecting others to know that in the moment what we need, we're in drama. And it's an avoidance of responsibility for saying, actually, this is a no from me without justification or need to explain. Or this is what I need right now. Is that something that you could provide? So we know our boundaries and communicate our needs, but we don't have this expectation that people are going to have to fulfill those needs. We make a request and give them the freedom to say yes or no. That takes us out of our drama. So this is all about out of drama and into power, yeah? Owning our space. So what can happen is, for a lot, what I see a lot in women is that women are either not speaking their needs and then getting resentful, or projecting their needs and not giving people the freedom to say yes or no. So that's a pendulum swing that is, you know, sort of debilitating in a way. We don't actually then come to a room or to a conversation being fully present and able to speak clearly and communicate what we need. So stopping the pendulum swing and coming back to this place, yeah. All right, so let me just see if there's anything else I want to write there. So this is something like, if you want your needs to be met, this is something like, do I need a bit of time to go away and think? Do I actually need more information? Do I need to be coached differently by someone else rather than my leader? What is it that you need to be in your power, and then communicate that? All right, so I want you to take a moment to think about, what one are you going to take on for the next week? Right? What is it that you're going to practice that's going to make a difference for you to get out of your drama? So take a moment. All right, pop it in the chat box, the one that you're going to choose, and have a think about what might be an action that you're going to take in alignment with that one that you've chosen. So Tracy's shared calibrate to myself. What's going to support you to do that, Tracy? Are you going to invest more time in some me time so that you can start to listen for yourself beyond what's going on in your mind? Are you going to maybe invest yourself in some more creativity, creative expression, whether that's writing or painting or creating something that has you get out of your head and more into your body? Meditations, as I said, time in nature can really help. Getting into that state of flow. I'm not sure who that is. Maybe I can't see the name again. Going to ask more questions when asked for support instead of saying what I would do. Nice. Yes. So when someone's coming to you to ask for support, rather than giving them advice, asking questions. Yeah, so it takes the pressure off you and you for involving yourself in their drama potentially. What else are you going to choose? Calibrate to myself and listen to if my voice tone changes. Beautiful. Really good. So making sure, as you know, I'm a so what now what kind of girl, which means what's going to be different that we spent this time together. Out of these three things, what are you going to do differently? Commit to yourself and practice. Yep. And as Laura, I think, or Sarah shared earlier, that it is difficult. It is difficult to not care what other people think. I'm not saying to shut your heart off and, become someone who's cool and aloof, but it's a course correct. So notice when you are caring about what others think and then go, okay, could I care more about what I think? And focus your care there. So you're redirecting your capacity to care from others to yourself, yeah? Okay. All right, so then the last thing I want to share with you is a couple of things on leading a bigger game. All right, so I don't want to rub that off, actually. I'm going to leave that there. And I might just use the other end of the board, James. So this last thing I want to give you is how we now, if we're in leadership, leading a bigger game for our team and our organisation, or if it's about leading our own life, then the same applies. So often what I find is, so the drama keeps us stuck in a small game. And I find a lot, and this is true for myself as well, or was true, and sometimes I still catch myself, I'm playing a smaller game than what's possible for me. So I often challenge women around, if you're getting stuck in drama, it's because you don't have a big enough vision. And often the reply is, well, I'm very busy and I have a lot to do and very responsible to many people. Yes, that's true. But that can have you stuck in the Groundhog Day. What we want to do is look for, am I playing into, or living into a vision that really lights me up and inspires me from the inside, that will elevate me out of my drama. So leading a bigger game, so the key is know your vision. And if you don't know it, start to get in touch with your inner self so you can start to learn what it is. Know your vision and fall in love with it every day. Fall in love with your vision every day, okay? Can you see how that's very different to drama? Yep. So create a clear picture of the woman or the person that would be living that vision, okay? So how does she speak? How does she treat herself? How does she invest her time? And how does she invest in herself? So the woman that lives the vision, your vision, how does she do these things? Who does she spend time with? Yeah. What does she eat? How does she treat her body? Yeah. And there's lots of other things that you could put there, but imagine, create that clear picture of yourself and who that woman would be. Yep. And then understand your habits, like what are the habits, including language and phrases and the drama, that match that vision and don't match. So it's like doing a little assessment on yourself. an analysis. So if I know my vision and I fall in love with it every day, and then I've got a clear picture of who that woman is that fulfills that vision or actually is living that vision, then I can decide or understand what the gap is, yes? And then see if you can start to create, choose a habit or two, and it might come back to this. Start to practice new habits, right? And then the last one is find someone that is actually living similar vision to you, or at least partly, and then role model her or him. There are women on this call that are very successful, and many highly revered in their industry, and yet still have this growth mindset, that are continuing to learn and challenge themselves. Be like that, yeah? All right, so choose, thank you. So the writing's not fantastic, but practice new habits and role model. I'm not going to write anymore. Role model a woman in leadership that you believe carries that energy in the way that you want to. Yep. So make sure you've got those 5 points, and then take a moment to choose one that you're going to focus on. So you might go, I've already got my vision. I'm already in love with it. So now I need to refine this. Yep. So choose what one you're going to action. I'll give you 1 minute and then we'll wrap up. All right, feel free to pop in the chat box what you might like to do. So you're taking care of this, and now we're elevating into a bigger game. Out of your drama and into your power, owning your space, okay? Feel free to share with the people on the call. So this breakfast community, I know are women who really want to invest in themselves and take their leadership, their ability to live the life that they want and love in the relationships that they want to have. I know that you're wanting to take yourself to the new levels. So sharing with each other is a great way to do that. Finally, to finish up, I know that a lot of you have been asking us about and reaching out for what's next. How do we spend more time together? How can I have more of this in a way that I can apply it more deeply in my life? And so we're working on currently researching and collecting information and data on the best way to serve you. We are launching something it will be in May, around May, and currently we're putting this program together. It will be a group coaching program. And what I would love, if you'd like to be a part of contributing to our research, we're going to be sending you a form in our follow-up email to this call today, and there'll be a link in that email for you to click on that and fill out a form to tell us what it is that you'd love to see or hear or experience. We want to know a little bit about you and where you're at in the work that you want to do, because that will help us refine this program and make it of greatest value. It would also mean that you'll have first choice to the program if you want it. So filling out the form is no obligation. It just helps me know exactly where you're at and what you want. All right, so I'm really excited about that. We had a tough year last year, didn't we? We weren't able to launch all these beautiful things that we really want to launch, but we're ready now. And I'm really looking forward to working with you more closely. So thank you for being here today. I hope it's been valuable. I'd love to hear your comments in the chat box about what you're doing, what you're taking away, and any feedback that you have. And I'd love to see you next month on the 5th of March is our next one. And I look forward to seeing you then. Have an amazing day and an amazing weekend. I'll talk to you soon.